Imagine risking arrest, sneaking onto someone's property in the dead of night, slipping a rubber hose into their truck's gas tank, and stealing, well, exactly half a tank of gas.
Just half.
Right, not the whole thing. Just half. Just enough to run your errands for the week, I guess, leaving the rest for the owner. Welcome to Langlade County, Wisconsin.
It is honestly the ultimate polite heist, like a very neighborly crime.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because usually when you and I talk about official police logs, we expect, severe hardened grit.
Big city sirens.
Exactly. Dramatic court cases, yellow police tape everywhere. But our mission for you today is completely different. We've got our hands on a stack of seemingly dry, mundane police and sheriff reports from April 14th to April 21st, 2026.
Fresh off the press.
Yeah, straight out of Langlade County, the city of Antigo. That's in Antigo, by the way, for folks taking notes at home. Stretching way up near Elko, which is pronounced Elkado.
Right, you got to get the pronunciation right, or the locals will definitely let you know.
Oh, for sure. So we are going to read between the lines today and turn these official logs into the kind of spicy, neighborly gossip you'd share over a cup of coffee at the local diner.
I love this.
But just to be clear, no names, no specific addresses, just the pure, wild, and weird tea.
It is basically community theater, but the stage is a county highway, and, well, everyone is an unwitting actor.
That is the perfect way to put it. I look at these logs, and to me, it's like looking at a high school group chat where everyone knows everyone's business. It's a fascinating shortcut to understanding human nature. It just proves that small-town life is absolutely anything but boring. So let's start with the baseline, the everyday rhythms of Antigo, because you really have to understand the mundane to appreciate the mischievous.
You really do.
So Tuesday morning, we have a deputy conducting extra patrol on Highway B, and the report notes, drumroll please, 0 speeders. A perfectly quiet commute.
Which paints a picture of complete rural tranquility, right? The social contract is totally intact. Everyone is behaving.
Sure, but then literally that very same morning, the tranquility gets punctured by the most hyper-local descriptions imaginable.
Oh, boy.
There was an accidental 9/11 hang-up on Bogus Road, which, by the way, Bogus Road is just a fantastic road name.
It really is.
And it's traced back to an old landline. And then over on State Road 64, the police are called in to manage a traffic hazard, not a multi-car pileup. Do you know what it is? An exploded mulch bag.
Just a rogue bag of landscaping supplies giving up the ghost on the asphalt.
Just sitting there,
Blah.
causing a massive scene. And we can't forget Friday morning, bright and early, on Superior Street, where officers respond to a shirtless man who was just, chatting up young women.
Oh, geez.
Or the evening report of a reckless four-wheeler doing figure eights in a muddy field near North Avenue.
Yeah.
I have to push back a little on the official framework here.
How so?
Well, as an exploded mulch bag or a guy doing donuts in a field, is that actual lawlessness? Or are we just looking at the byproduct of small-town boredom and incredibly hyper-vigilant neighbors who know exactly how their street is supposed to look?
Well, what's fascinating here is how perfectly this maps onto the broken windows theory, but, entirely adapted for a rural ecosystem.
Wait, I thought the broken windows theory was like a 1980s New York City subway concept.
It is.
The idea that visible signs of disorder, like graffiti, just encourage more serious crime, right?
Yeah, that's the core of it, but the mechanism works differently out here. In a major metropolitan area, a broken window or a tagged wall signals that nobody is watching.
Like the community has surrendered the space.
Exactly. But in a small county, the baseline of normalcy is guarded so fiercely by the residents that a disruption to the physical order, like a pile of spilled mulch on a pristine state road, or fresh tire tracks chewing up a quiet field, it proves that everyone is watching.
And they are not happy about it.
Not at all. When someone is tearing up a field on a four-wheeler, they aren't pulling off the heist of the century. But it is a direct visual violation of that quiet Tuesday commute on Highway B we just talked about.
Oh, that makes sense.
The environment is essentially the community's living room.
Yeah.
You wouldn't rev a four-wheeler in your neighbor's living room.
It's the visual equivalent of talking too loud in a library. Somebody is going to shush you, or in this case, call the sheriff.
Right.
But it's exactly that fierce guarding of the visual piece that makes the real offenses stand out. Because when folks out here decide to escalate from accidental nuisances to intentional damage, they don't just break the rules. They get incredibly creative.
Oh, the logistics. change entirely.
They really do. And here's where it gets really interesting, because the sheer elbow grease somebody put into some of these acts is wild.
I can't wait.
We see the standard stuff, of course.
Yeah.
A woman walking out of the State Road 64 Walmart with a vacuum cleaner she didn't pay for.
Pretty typical.
Yeah. A customer on Jerome Street pulling the classic tag swap, peeling the barcode off a cheap item and slapping it on something expensive.
Your everyday retail hustle.
Yeah, that happens everywhere. But then we hit Elton South Road, and we get a highly specific fraud case. Somebody wrote a bad check for a chainsaw carving.
Wow.
And not just a little wooden bear for the porch. We are talking about a $1,600 chainsaw carving.
That is a serious piece of art.
It is. And then we have our polite thief from earlier on County Road H, sneaking onto a property and siphoning exactly half a tank of gas. But the physical effort required for this next one just baffles me.
Lay it on me.
On County Road V, a young man trespasses onto a property and reportedly sinks a boat in a pond.
Sinking a boat is not a passive activity.
No, you don't just accidentally trip and sink an aluminum boat. You have to really work at that.
Yeah, you do.
You're pulling the plug, you're heaving rocks into the hull, you are getting your boots completely soaked in muddy pond water.
Takes dedication.
Exactly. And then, for the ultimate chef's kiss of audacity, we have a hit-and-run property damage accident that takes place directly at the safety building on Clermont Street.
Oh, you mean the police station?
Yes. They hit the actual police station and hit the gas. I mean, help me out here. Are these acts of desperation, or is there some strange rural economy and logic at play that I'm just totally missing?
There is absolutely a rural economy at play, and it dictates what gets targeted.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, if you are operating in a dense city, thieves look for high liquidity items. Jewelry, small electronics, smartphones, things you can fence quickly.
Right, pawn shop stuff?
Exactly. But out in Langlade County, gasoline and artisan chainsaw art are high-value local fiat currency.
So a wooden eagle is essentially a gold bar.
In this context, yes, a $1,600 wood carving is a massive luxury asset that holds real local value.
I've never thought of it that way.
And the person siphoning half a tank of gas. That tells us so much about the motivation.
That it's not just pure greed.
Right. That suggests a crime of immediate practical need rather than sheer profit. They calculated exactly how many gallons they needed to get to work or run an errand and took only their share. It's an economy of survival.
I can totally see that. But what about the boat? And hitting the safety building? That's not economics. There's no market value in a sunken rowboat.
No, you're right. That shifts from economics straight into psychology.
Like a personal vendetta.
Exactly. Sinking a boat in a pond is a textbook example of petty, localized revenge. It is deeply personal, it is physically exhausting, and it is incredibly specific to one person.
Yeah, you're trying to ruin a very specific guy's fishing trip.
Right. It's not about financial gain. It's about sending a message to a neighbor that you are willing to get your hands dirty to ruin their weekend.
Okay, in the safety building.
As for the safety building hit and run, well, that perfectly illustrates the human panic response.
Hitting the literal headquarters of law enforcement and deciding, yeah, I can outrun this.
We assume that proximity to authority would make someone stay and own up to the mistake because, I mean, they are right there.
Yeah, the cops are practically watching you do it.
But the primitive instinct to flee completely overrides the prefrontal cortex. The brain just screams, danger, run, even when you are literally crashing into the brick wall of the building where the people who will catch you are currently drinking their morning coffee.
Gosh, that makes a bizarre amount of sense.
Yeah.
The rational brain just unplugs completely. But, while the daytime logs show us actual physical effort and sweat, sunken boats and crashed cars, the night logs flip the script.
Oh, entirely.
They move away from the tangible and drop us straight into a psychological void. The tone shifts entirely. We move from petty theft to incidents that feel exactly like the cold open of a true crime thriller.
The nighttime reports are incredibly atmospheric.
They really are. Listen to this. 3:12 a.m., South Pratt Road. A resident checks their security cameras the next morning.
Okay.
The cameras captured voices, just whispering in the dark. The voices say, "We fixed it," so they can take it now.
Oh, wow. That is genuinely chilling.
I know. But here's the kicker. Nothing was missing from the property.
Wait, nothing at all.
Nothing was taken. It's just ghostly audio floating in the cloud. And the week is full of these eerie, unresolved moments.
Like what else?
Well, there's an abandoned vehicle found crashed in a ditch on State Road 55 with absolutely no one around. Just left there.
Spooky.
Over on Red Pine Drive, Neighbors report a suspicious white sedan parked at the home of a recently deceased resident, and later, there were reports of multiple vehicles fleeing that same area.
Scavengers circling an empty house.
Exactly what I thought. Then you have someone apparently living under a structure on Milton Street, just existing in the shadows.
Wow.
A resident on Badger Avenue goes down into their basement and finds a mysterious corroded bullet hidden away.
Just the loose bullet.
Yeah. And on Thursday night, 8:49 p.m. on Lincoln Street, someone calls in hearing 6 to 7 rapid-fire gunshots. Officers rush to the area
And let me guess, nothing.
and find perfect silence. No casings, no damage, just a totally normal Thursday night. But I keep zeroing in on that South Brett Road security footage.
The whisperers.
Yeah. It's like the suspense of a horror movie where the monster never actually appears on screen. You have to ask, is the modern technology of home security cameras actually making us feel less safe?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you've really hit on one of the core drivers of modern paranoia.
Modern paranoia.
Yeah. Historically, if someone was sneaking around your yard at 3 a.m. and they didn't break a window or steal your truck, you simply never knew about it.
Right, you just sleep right through it.
Exactly. You woke up, the lawn looked the same, the birds were singing, and you went about your day feeling completely secure.
Ignorance is bliss. What you don't know can't hurt you.
But now we're constantly harvesting these isolated, contextless data points.
Think about your own phone right now, for anyone listening.
Oh, absolutely.
How many times a week you get a motion alert at 2 a.m., watch a blurry shadow move across your driveway, and then spend the next hour staring at the bedroom ceiling in a total panic?
Exactly. We get an audio snippet of a whisper, a fleeting shadow on a Ring camera. We are given the setup of a thriller without the conclusion.
And we just stew in it.
And the human brain absolutely hates a vacuum. When we are handed contextless data, our evolutionary wiring forces us to fill in the blanks with the most terrifying possibilities to ensure our survival.
So a couple of teenagers goofing off in the dark, maybe fixing a bicycle chain, suddenly becomes a coordinated, malicious home invasion in our minds.
Precisely. Finding a corroded bullet in an old Badger Avenue basement is probably just a forgotten relic from a hunting trip 50 years ago.
Granddad dropped it and it rolled under the stairs.
Right. But in the context of feeling constantly surveilled and hearing phantom gunshots on Lincoln Street, your brain turns that old bullet into a clue in an active murder mystery.
Oh,
The technology that is supposed to give us mastery and control over our environment is really just highlighting how little control we have over the night.
gosh, that is deeply unsettling. But while the night logs show us the paranoia of human imagination, the daytime logs show us actual physical collisions.
Back to the real world.
Yeah, because as we get back to the daylight hours in Antigo, it becomes painfully clear that humans aren't the only ones trying to claim these roads.
Oh, the wildlife.
Yes, they are sharing this county with unpredictable wildlife, massive agriculture, and some incredibly high-stress commuters. And the results are chaotic.
A friction of the rural infrastructure.
So what does this all mean? We all have this idyllic postcard stereotype of country driving, right?
Windows rolled down, one hand on the wheel.
Yeah, admiring the green fields at a slow pace. But the logs show something entirely different. We have a guy walking dead center down the middle of County Road HH and West Bear Lake Road, just refusing to move for cars.
A total man versus machine standoff.
Over near Superior Street and 10th Avenue, there's a severe road rage incident. Brake checking, screaming, literally trying to run another vehicle off the road.
That is not exactly a leisurely Sunday drive.
Not at all. And the stakes are incredibly high because of the machinery involved.
Well, the farm equipment is massive.
Exactly. There was a huge crash involving a milk tanker on State Road 47 where they actually had to call in a medical helicopter.
Oh, a milk tanker is incredibly dangerous.
It's a rolling stainless steel missile full of liquid. Plus, you have the animal encounters. A loose black dog with a green collar causing a ruckus on County F.
Just out for a stroll.
Cars smashing into deer on County K, or deputies having to dispatch a dead deer stuck in a fence on Old 26 Road. And then, perhaps the most bizarre conflict of the entire week, over at Edison Street and Mendlick Avenue.
I read this one. It's crazy.
A man is just walking his dog, and another individual pulls a gun, or maybe a taser. The report is a bit blurry on the thing.
Armed standoff over a neighborhood dog walk.
I have to say, the intense rage, the heavy machinery, the animals popping out of the woods, it feels less like a country song and more like a game of Mario Kart.
This raises an important question about how we view rural spaces, really. We tend to think of country roads as just empty, passive space waiting for us to drive through, but they are actually multi-use, incredibly high-stakes environments.
Right.
They are the factory floor for industrial agriculture, which is why you have milk tankers flying down State Road 47.
Makes sense.
They are the literal living room for local wildlife, hence the deer caught in the fences. And they are the conduit for very stressed humans trying to navigate all of it at 60 miles an hour.
But why pull a taser on a dog walker? That feels like such a massive overreaction for a small town.
It is the paradox of rural living. People often move to wide open spaces to be left alone. They cultivate a massive personal bubble.
They want their privacy.
So when someone breaches that bubble, even just by walking a dog too close to a property line or driving a little too slow in front of them, the psychological reaction is explosively disproportionate.
Wow.
The isolation actually makes them less tolerant of hyperproximity. The margin for error is incredibly thin when a semi-truck full of milk, a stressed-out commuter, and a wandering deer share the same two-lane blacktop.
Which brings me to the absolute comedic climax of the week.
I'm ready.
Sunday evening. An officer pulls over a driver at County Road K and Lost Lake Road. It's for speeding and expired tags. Standard, everyday stuff.
Sure.
The driver's getting a warning. But during the stop, the officer has to alert the driver because, according to the driver's phone, which has a live camera feed pulled up right there on the dashboard,
Oh, no.
his farm animals are currently escaping.
That is incredible.
Can you imagine the sheer panic? You're sitting there, hands on the wheel, trying to be polite, saying, "You bet, officer, I'll get those tags renewed first thing Monday."
Sweating bullets.
And meanwhile, out of the corner of your eye, you are watching your cows orchestrate a coordinated jailbreak on a high-definition live stream.
It is the ultimate collision of modern surveillance tech and timeless agrarian chaos.
It really is.
You have a satellite beaming high-speed internet to a glowing smartphone inside a pickup truck, just to show a farmer that a 19th century problem is actively happening in his barnyard while he gets a ticket.
It is brilliant. The technology is doing its job perfectly, but nature is still going to do whatever the heck it wants.
Unstoppable force meets immovable object.
So looking at this whole wild week, from the exploded mulch and the polite gas thief to the whispering security cameras and the live-streamed livestock, we have to synthesize this into a moral of the week.
Let's hear it.
I think the lesson for Langlade County is pretty clear. Keep a very close eye on your $1,600 chainsaw art. Definitely check your basement for old bullets. And if you happen to get pulled over on County K, make absolutely sure your livestock isn't making a run for it on a live feed while the deputy is writing your warning.
I think that's very sound, practical advice for anyone, anywhere, really.
Right. And for you listening, this is exactly why these hyperlocal deep dives matter. These small-town police logs prove that no matter where you live, human nature is universally messy.
It really is.
It is unpredictable, it is full of friction, and it is endlessly entertaining. It is the exact same human condition you find in a massive metropolis. It's just wearing a different ZIP code, dealing with different wildlife, and dodging different potholes.
We all have the same basic impulses and paranoias, whether we are navigating a subway delay in a city or staring down an exploded bag of mulch on a country highway.
We really do. Which leaves us with one lingering thought for you to mull over as we wrap up today's deep dive. We've just spent this time analyzing the quirks, the mistakes, and the oddities of strangers in a town you might never have visited. But imagine if your own daily routine, your odd habits, your minor miscommunications with neighbors, your moments of unhinged frustration in traffic were documented in a sterile public logbook for everyone in your town to read.
That is a terrifying thought.
What bizarre, suspicious activity would you be guilty of? Are our communities really just a collection of overlapping, slightly weird behaviors that we've all silently agreed to tolerate until someone finally calls it in? Something to think about the next time you leave a bag of mulch in your driveway.